right, let's have some fun in Excel with tables. So what we are looking at here is a listing of all WWE title holders since the inception of the belt. So we're not talking about the Intercontinental Championship. We're not talking about Universal, Hardcore, US, you name it. We're just talking about the traditional belt. So what we have here is a listing of champions, the date they won the belt, the event, the city, which title reign it was of theirs, the number of days they held the title, and the days that it was recognized by WWE. So that may be a little different from the number of days in the case of the devious heel, Ted DiBiase here, thought he could buy anyone off, thought he could buy off the title, tried to buy it from Andre the Giant, but WWF President Jack Tunney stepped in right away and said, they went ahead and voided that championship reign. So since we're playing with tables here, let's make this thing a table. Really easy shortcut, Control T. T, obviously easy to remember. T for time for tables. You got it. So it'll pop up this little box, and we're just going to hit OK, and you have yourself a table here. And this part's optional, but when I make something a table, I like to give it a little Devon! Get the tables! But again, that's optional. So when you change it to a table, you're going to get this default Excel formatting here. I don't love this, but you have all these options you can change it to. I really like to just take the formatting away completely, puts it back to that initial formatting. You can't even tell it's a table. Love that. Next thing we want to do is name our table, something that makes sense to us, something that we can remember later. Table 3, pretty generic. Let's call it WWE Champs. That makes sense, doesn't it? All right, so we have our WWE Champ table. Let's create a new tab and let's play with that data a little bit, see what we can do. So let's say I want to create a little report here that shows all of the champions. We want to pull in number of title reigns. Let's pull in the total days recognized as champ. And then let's say average title reign length. And let's go ahead and populate this using that nice new table we just made. So first thing we want to do is pull in all of the wrestlers, or pardon me, WWE superstars that have held that title over the years. So let me introduce you a very cool function in Excel. Very easy to use, very easy to understand, unique. So this is going to pull in just every unique name that's on that list. So the first thing it wants to do, it's looking for the array. And the array is basically the range that it wants us to look for. So in this case, we want to go look at our table. So I can just start typing WWE. Look at that. It pops up for us. Great. Hit tab, and there we go. But it's looking what bracket or what column are we looking at? So here we obviously want name. If I hit open bracket, and look at that, it gives us every column that's in that table. Again, great. So I can choose it here, or I can start typing name, and it kind of populates it for me. I hit tab, and look at that. Boom, unique, close that parentheses. There's every champion that held the belt over the years. Another cool thing you can kind of layer on top of that is sort. Sort, and just close that parentheses, and now we got it in alphabetical order. Even cooler. All right, so I'm going to avoid the dynamic arrays for this one. So I'm just going to paste those values in now that we have the listing we need. I'm freezing that because that's just kind of something that I like to do. I can scroll down. I still see my headers. So first off, number of title reigns. So let's think that through. So we probably want to count how many times this name shows up in the name column. So that'll be a count if. So we need our range. So again, WWE, look at that. Boom, name, boom. Look how quick I can type that in. I don't have to jump over to the data tab and select that column because we already have that table set. Criteria, so we want the name. How many times does AJ Styles show up? He was champion twice, good for him. So let's center, let's just make it look a little prettier. Another little shortcut, Control-1 takes you to your format cells. And I like to go ahead and we don't need decimals. Let's put a 1,000 separator in there. Okay, there we go. How many days recognize as champ? That smells like a sum if to me. We want to sum that smells like a sum if to me. We want to sum that days recognized column. So sum if, we need our range again. So we're looking, once again, we're looking at the name, WWE Champs. So we want to see how many times this name showed up. And now which column do we want to sum? That's right, we want days recognized right there. So this will sum up the days recognized as champ for each name that it's seeing in this column. Look at AJ Styles, 511 days as champ. Woo! A phenomenal one. All right, so over here, this is just going to be a simple formula, average title reign length. Let's just make it total days divided by title reigns. So a little hint for you. We're not going to have that problem here, but sometimes you'll have it where it's dividing by 0 and you're going to get an error in Excel. So here's kind of a cheat that a lot of us Excel nerds know, but if error, so it's saying if this formula is an error, what do you want to put in this cell? So you could either say NA in parentheses or quotes, sorry. I like to usually just do 0. So if this does turn to a 0, it just shows 0. You don't get that divide by 0 error. All right, so there we go. Look how easy that was. We put this together. I'm gonna filter it and sort, who had the most days as champ. And, look at this legendary listing here. The Hulkster, John Cena, You Can't See Me, Brock Lesnar. I mean, wow, this is the who's who of WWE history. You can take a look at who had the average longest length. Again, you have Hulk Hogan here, but look at that. Big Daddy Cool sneaking in there. Held it for just under a year. Pretty cool. One final thought on tables here. You saw how easy it is to put the formulas together where Excel helps you finish your thought by just clicking tab. But it's also a lot easier when you're going back and auditing formulas or trying to take over somebody else's work. So I put together two kind of P&Ls here. One with using table and one without. So we're looking at these formulas without the table. And I'm sure if you're in finance, you've been here where you see all these column, the letters, but you don't know what's what. And you find yourself kind of jumping back and forth. Okay, what's C, what's D? Especially when you have a data file with 60 plus columns, things like that. You're going back and forth looking for the right column. Much easier to go back and audit your formulas when it's in the table. So without looking at all at the data, I can see, okay, I'm pulling in the values. I'm looking at the business unit. It's got to equal that. I'm looking at the year. It has to equal right here. Scenario set to this. The account is set to the account, and the month is pointing at the month. So you kind of quickly know how the formula is working. And also, if you have to go back and change something, let's say, oh, I don't care about business unit. I want to see the total financials for the whole company. I know exactly where that formula points to the business unit. I just wiped that out. And now I kind of cover that, paste that across here. And now I have all 3 business units combined here because my formula no longer references that business unit. It's still taking everything else, but the business unit's not included. So tons of benefits with tables. I recommend, anytime you're using a formula like a sum if, count if, XLOOKUP, filter, anytime where you're pulling full columns in, use that table. It's going to save you time up front. It's going to save you time on the back end. In today's video, I want to share with you a quote that I literally have hanging in my master bathroom so I can see this every morning and start my day with this thought. And it's a quote by Lao Tzu, spelling it right there. But he's clearly a very wise man because he said, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And I could talk for hours on what it all means, but I think it all goes back to that first line. Watch your thoughts. It all starts there. It all starts between the ears. And we all have that little voice in our head that wants to talk negative or tell us one thing or the other. But you know what? You are in control of that voice. You can tell it when to be quiet. You take control. And there's a lot of ways to do that. You can practice positive affirmations. You can practice meditating. But it's really just being mindful of that, hey, I'm having this thought and it's not reality. It's not what's going on external. It's all internal. It's all in your head. And take the time to redirect that thought. So I use that personally for when I have, trying to break bad habits. And as soon as that habit gets into my head, like, what would be great right now? A box of Mike and Ike's. And then it's like, no, Dennis, be good. Come on. You're going to feel like shit after you eat that box of Mike and Ike's. Go have a banana. And I am big on positivity. So if you have positive thoughts, your words are going to be positive. Your actions are going to be positive. Your habits are going to be positive. Your character will be positive, and your destiny. And when I think destiny, I mean that I think of that as your legacy. How will people remember you? They'll think of you as a positive person. If you wake up in the morning, it's going to be a bad day. I have to do this, do that. That's how you're going to project. That's how people are going to think of you. And who wants to hang around that person? Not me. So take a moment in the morning, anytime you want to take a moment during the day to be mindful. And if you find yourself going down the wrong path, redirect yourself. You can do this. You are in charge of that little voice in your head. You control your thoughts. Your thoughts do not control you. So keep that in mind throughout your day. If you feel yourself kind of turning in a bad direction, you can always return it in that right direction. Be kind to yourself. We're all human. We all have bad days, bad moments, but you can't let that snowball into negative momentum. You can turn it around, do it quickly, and make it a great day. Now go be great.